Let's start with you, Lizzie, because somehow you have managed to pull off this miracle, but it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, no, I am friends with my ex-husband. I spent Christmas with my ex-husband. We're going away for my son's wedding, who's getting married in Italy. It reminded me, really, being with him, why we were together, because we do get on. We've got the same sense of humour. And I enjoy his company, actually, and he'll probably be one of the first people I'd ring if I was in trouble.
If I'd been talking to you as recently as, let's say, 3 years ago, could you have imagined yourself sitting on the television saying, I'm having Christmas with my ex, I'm going away with my ex, and I really like him, and I really, he's someone I'd phone in if I were in trouble? I don't think so, would you?
I'm possibly not. I can't imagine, because we did go through it, and it was a really tough divorce. I wouldn't wish divorce on anyone. It was the worst thing ever. And I think I had a bit of a breakdown from it, to be honest. It was really distressing. But, I just thought, I can't be bitter. There are parts of him I did miss. We've got 2 boys together, and for my boys' sake, they'd say, "Oh, come on, Mum, you used to get on so well, have a laugh." And I just thought, you know what? Yeah, and I do miss him. And when I see him now, we really do get on well.
Tell me about how, because I think this is what people watching are going to wonder, how do you let go of the anger? Because he was unfaithful. Yeah. He's now with the woman that he cheated on you with. So when you see him, you usually get to see her as they come as a package on Christmas Day and at weddings and all those formal occasions. So it's not like you and he go off and have a really enjoyable walk or a game of tennis together. He always comes as a composite package with the woman effectively he did the dirty on you with. And it takes something. I mean, we'll get to JJ in just a second, but it takes something to be able to smile and be sociable and laugh and joke with the 2 of them together, surely.
But I think I did it for my boys. I thought I've got to put them before my own feelings. And then after spending a bit of time with her, I actually thought, I quite like you. I do like you. And I'm happy if Jason's happy, then my boys will be happy. And I'm actually happy to see him so happy with someone else. And I would never want to go back with him. But I love being friends with him.
I mean, I think it's an amazing thing to achieve, JJ, and to you, I think it's way beyond your ken, this kind of being friends with an ex thing.
I think if you've got kids with your ex like Lizzie does, then I think you've got to maintain some kind of relationship with the ex. But if it's just an ex-boyfriend you dated for 3 years, no, there's no reason you should be friends with them. I wouldn't be happy if my fiancé was still friends with an ex-partner, unless they've got kids together and there's a reason to do it. Like, I mean, you being friends with them and going... It's one thing to be friends with Jason, and I know Jason from radio. He's a good, funny guy. I can see why you'd want to marry him. But I don't think I could be in the same room then as Jason and his ex-partner. Sorry, and his current partner.
But you see, in life things happen, and at the time it broke my heart. As I said, I think I had a breakdown. I didn't eat. I lost an incredible amount of weight. I was very upset, and Vanessa, you were there with me and supporting me very much. But life moves on. And I have to say, I think I say to everyone, make friends. It's no point being bitter and angry, and that does go. And when I see him, I don't think of that at all. I actually just think, wow, I wouldn't need to tell you this or something about the boys.
Now, what about a casual person then? So you've got an ex-boyfriend who you've got no kids with, who you were never married, you just dated for a few years. You think you could still be friends with that person when you're in a new relationship? Because I definitely wouldn't be happy with that.
Definitely, because I'm still friends with all of my exes, apart from one who is absolutely horrific to me. And I wasn't the only girlfriend he had. But no, I'm friends with them all. And I don't see, if I'm with someone now and they get funny about it, that's their problem. They should trust me. I really, and I there's a reason why I went out with them, because I enjoyed their company. Why should I continue to enjoy their company?
But you see, likewise, they say an ex is an ex for a reason, for good reason. We all saw, didn't we, J-Lo, the wonderful Jennifer Lopez, go back with Ben Affleck, who she'd been engaged to before. And I don't know how you were feeling about that, but I know what I was feeling. I was thinking, I hope it works out this time. I really hope it does. Because I was thinking so many people will think, you should never go back. And, all the reasons that you split the last time, they'll still be there. Don't do it. And I was thinking, do it. And let's hope the kind of magic fairy of happiness just waves a wand over you and you just live happily ever after. Because I seem to be a just inveterate romantic. I'm always hoping everything. I really hope Chris Evans and Billie Piper would live happily happily ever after. I really, really did. All the people are going, oh, don't be ridiculous. I was thinking, well, they might. They could. I still wish they had, really.
I know.
And so I kind of was wishing that Ben Affleck would somehow be a reformed character, that J-Lo would go a bit easy on him and they'd be happy.
Yeah.
But of course they split again, and it was a horrible, turbulent split again. Yeah. And so, Lizzie, I suppose there's that feeling of, whatever it was that wrecked it is still very much kind of there.
Yeah, and you tend to remember the good times. When you miss your ex, you just think of the good times. And my friend said a really good tip: write down all the bad things, why you didn't want to be with them, and all they did, and all the irritations, and just remind yourself why they're an ex, so you don't go back.
Let's go on the line, because Susan's on the line in Aberdeen, and she's managed to pull off this incredible feat that Lizzie has also accomplished. And if I were wearing a hat, I would. In fact, my Easter bonnet, I would take my Easter bonnet off to you, Susan, for managing this. Lovely to hear from you today. Tell me about how you've managed to be best friends with your ex-husband.
Well, we split up about 15 years ago now. But obviously at the time it's tricky, it always is at the beginning. But we get on far better now than we ever did when we were together, to be quite honest. I mean, my daughter was about 12, 13 when we split up, but now he's my best friend. He lives very close to where I live, separate houses. But we got on so well that when my daughter was at university, we used to go down and visit her and stay in the same hotel room.
What?
On twin beds.
Wow.
Wow. Is there still kind of a flicker of romantic love? Is there a flicker of desire?
No. I mean, it was totally platonic. And my daughter, was obviously surprised with her. It was cheaper to do it that way than take two separate single rooms. But no, it was twin beds, and no, we just. I'm very fond of him.
Yeah.
As a
you shared
friend.
a bed with him.
Bedroom. I think twin bed, so they weren't in the same bed.
Right. Okay.
But did you have?
I wouldn't go quite that far.
Susan,
we had twin beds, but we shared the room. It was cheaper, and Shona used to come and see us and whatever in our room.
Susan,
so we
did you have? Susan,
AJ wants to talk to you, Susan. What do you want to say?
Did you have a new boyfriend during this time? Because I would not be happy if I was dating you and you were sleeping in the same room as your ex.
No, I've never had a relationship since, actually, to be quite honest.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I had gone out with someone, but I never found anyone. But I wouldn't go back to being with Ian. I wouldn't go back to. We wouldn't work together.
Right.
We work better apart. But he takes me shopping. He will come and do things for me. No, he always says before he leaves, if he's visited the house, anything you want, just give me a phone.
Oh,
but it sounds like an Andrew and Fergie thing, because there's no question the Yorks. I mean, I know they have 17 bedrooms, and he probably doesn't say to her, if there's anything you want doing around the house, love, I'll help you with it. But they certainly do seem to be, don't they, incredibly close, and particularly as he's had this dreadful kind of beleaguered time of it. And I did hear a callers to Matt Allwright on Jeremy's show today getting very, very hot under the collar about, all the things they think he's done and everything else. But there's no question, she's stuck with him. She's been as loyal and steadfast.
She has been so loyal, and I know Sarah Ferguson, she's a friend of mine, and she has stuck by him through thick and thin, and they are so close. They are like soulmates, as she says, and she's been his rock, really, and I think it's lovely to see.
I mean, you have to take your Easter bonnet off to her for being so incredibly staunch, because I think lots of other people might have been swayed by all the things that have been said about him, all the things that he has either done or not done, and think, OK, distance yourself from him. He's your ex-husband. You don't have to be there picking up the flack and getting it in the neck because of what he might have done. So she's really shown a hell of a lot of strength of character in that respect, hasn't she? Totally. Let's go to Bree in West Yorkshire. Hello there. What's happened with you, my love?
Hi. I think it depends, actually, on what happened in the breakup.
And so what happened to you? What happened with you?
Well, I left with a child with nothing because he was quite nasty and a womanizer, and quite a few years back. But it depends. And I think with a lot of celebrities and stuff, when money's involved, the women don't want to always leave the men because there's a hell of a lot of money involved and they pay. But I just left with nothing and had to build up again.
Yeah.
And it depends on the situation, really. But absolutely, no, it was quite nasty, mine. He was, and he never saw her until she was 4, then came back on the scene. It was not good.
And tell me something, does he see her now?
he did come in and out of her life, but not much. And she's turned into a good kid, but that's down to me. I've only got the one daughter. But no, he was a bad egg. And, you know, I was young and stupid. I thought he'd change, but he just didn't. He was a womanizer. He still is.
That's a title for a future show. Can you change a bad egg? And this idea of going into a relationship thinking you can change someone.
Yeah.
And you know, I remember my mum saying her best friend stood literally on the way to the altar and said, well, he's a bit of a beep, you know, but I can change him, and then walked up the aisle towards him. And my mum was thinking, don't do it. You know, you can't, I mean, can you or can't you change someone? That's a really good one, Brie. Thank you for that.
I don't think you can. I don't think a leopard ever changes its spots. I think, honestly, if you are known to cheat, I think it's in your DNA to do it.
You think so?
Yeah,
and someone with a foul temper will always have a foul temper, however sweet you are to them. Maybe. We'll do that on a different show. Yes. Let's go to Julie in the West Midlands. Hi, Julie. You've managed to have a sort of rapprochement going on. How'd you do it?
Yeah, we kind of ended amicably in the 80s. So we've actually got a daughter who's 40 this year, and I've got 2 grandchildren from her. Yes. And I think we just wanted everything to be amicable for her, really, and not for her to suffer or be broken in any way. So we've always tried to get on, really, to be fair. We've had lots of issues when we first split up, but generally my daughters always say, me and your dad, you know, me, myself and my ex-husband, she's never had a relationship like it because we do care for each other. And although there's no love lost in the sense that I'm not romantically involved with him, he's the father of my daughter. Yeah. And for me, that's priority. I've always wanted us to get on. We used to be friends before, even though it has been hard. But it was really for her and the grandchildren, really.
You think, Julie, that you've had to be the person that's sort of absorbed most of the hurt and most of the, you know, the misery, and you've had to kind of rise above. Has it been you that's really taken this on for the benefit of your daughter?
Do you know what, Vanessa? I think it was a bit of both. I think we've both shared the pain. I think, sorry to get upset, I think initially when we broke up, I actually live in Birmingham. I lived in London for 4 years while we were married. And when we split, I brought my daughter back with me to the Midlands, and it was just heartbreaking. And I felt the guilt, really, for him. Sorry to get upset. Even, you know, 30 odd years down the line, it's still painful.
Do you know something? I totally, completely get it, Julie. My divorce was 26 years ago, I think. Yeah. Yes. Oh, and you know, funnily enough, I was sitting in a church at somebody else's wedding, and I just suddenly thought, my heart is actually broken. It's broken. You can almost feel it being broken. And and just like Julie's still crying, like nearly 40 years later, it doesn't necessarily just snap back together. I think it depends how wholeheartedly you believed in the marriage. Yes. You know, if you really thought, and I know I really did, that you're doing this forever and ever, and every word spoken is true, and is basically going from your mouth right to the angels, you know, because you properly, truly in love, and this is going to last forever and ever, and all the promises are real, then when you think about it the way Julie is, I'm not in the least bit surprised she's crying now, because
it's making me cry, actually. It really is. Because you want it forever. You get married forever. Yeah. And that's what I felt as well, Vanessa. And I was like you at a friend's wedding and found overcome with emotion.
Exactly.
Because I hope my marriage would last forever.
Absolutely. We get you, Julie, completely. We really do. And also absolutely get why you did this incredibly grown-up, amazingly selfless thing and just kind of stuck with him as a friend all these years later. It's a hell of a difficult thing to do. It's amazing. Well done. Incredible, really.